Hey everybody, I'm Bill Murphy here with AMD, and I am live in Poland for the first time ever. Yes, this is the first time I've been to Poland, believe it or not. I had plenty of pierogies and everything like that. It's been really good so far. But I am here with Tomas, the game director for The Alters, which is launching June 13th on PC and consoles. And I've cornered him in this wonderful room that's surrounded by lots of cool equipment, including our AMD PC, which hopefully you can see behind me. And I wanted to ask him a few questions about The Alters. For those of you who may not know exactly what it is or what it's about, well, that leads us, I guess, to the first question, Tomas. It's, what is The Alters about? What is your 30-second elevator pitch for this game? How do you sell it to people who have no idea what they're getting into?
You know, it's a survival game about a guy stranded on a distant planet that in order to survive and get back home, he needs to create alternative versions of himself. Different versions that made some different life choices in the past, and that resulted in different skill sets, but also different character they have. And now you as a player have to manage this merry-go-round and find your way home.
Find your way home from where?
From a very, very distant planet.
That's a good elevator pitch. I like that. So it revolves around meeting alternate versions of this character, Jan Dolski. What inspired your team to sort of go this way? Obviously, your first game was This War of Mine, which is a massive, critically acclaimed hit, very heavy content. This seems a little bit lighter, a little bit different. What made you guys choose to go this route?
Well, you know, tone-wise, we wanted to have a bit of a lighter tone and also some darker tones as well, because, you know, that's life. And this game, it is the sci-fi high concept with, you know, crazy technology and the mysterious substance allowing you for all of this. But these are, you know, devices to tell a very deeply personal story, a very down-to-earth story about a guy who, you know, has a sort of similar life to ours and similar regrets. So what we really wanted to do and what inspired us was actually our own experiences, you know, things we had, like the questions, the choices we had in the past as a team. We shared those experiences between each other and we were like, okay, what is your biggest what if? And like, we're really hoping for every player, there's gonna be a different one from Jan's life path that they're gonna share, and they're gonna feel like, yeah, I'm thinking about that too. That's also something that I'm thinking, what if I made a different choice in my past? And here in the game, you can just see a simulation of how it could turn out, you know?
Who is your favorite version of Jan? Do you have a personal?
Yeah, I usually say the scientist, but you know, it's easy to pick your favorite child. But no, scientist, because he's got, you know, the always best answers, and he's very quick to give you those answers. So I kind of like hanging out with him. But you know, they're all interesting, very different and similar at the same time. That's so cool to find, okay, what's similar, because when you figure out what's similar, then it's easier to talk to them, to handle them, to figure out what works well for them. But both differences and similarities make for some, you know, nice drama and nice tensions and also some nice chilled moment. That's what I said about tonality. Yeah. It varies.
Yeah. How do you make 10+ different versions of this character? Obviously, there's one actor bringing them to life, and please name drop him. I know his first name, Alex, but
Alex Jordan,
yeah.
And he's doing an amazing job. And
how do you bring all that together, like in the studio? How does Alex kind of, and you and your whole team work together to create these kind of characters?
Yeah, I mean, he needs to talk a lot with himself, so he needs to love his voice, because it's like, I think we're hitting like 400 hours of recordings of just him. So you know, of course we usually, because the bass line is like the most also bass voice that we are differentiating a bit for different characters. So what we're usually doing is we're recording in the dialogue the alters first, and then we match it with Jan. So like he hears himself as a, let's say, botanist, and then answers the botanist with main Jan voice, the protagonist. You know, the most interesting part, I think, was figuring out those voices, because, you know, it's video games, it's a very specific medium. So you have to, they can't be too similar, you know. So but also you don't want to differentiate it too much, because it can become, you know, cartoonish and not believable. So we really have to find this balance, and it was a lot of workshopping, and the whole casting process was very long, because we were testing big parts of the script on different characters to figure out, okay, how many voices we can get from that branch, and etc. And Alex did fantastic job, and he keeps doing it. And there are so many different challenges, like we've been mentioning, even singing in different voices today. So it's, you know, it's sometimes it's crazy, but you know, with his passion, it's doable.
Yeah, I noticed that there's a difference between like a voice acting and doing lots of different characters and voices, but being able to do different characters of the same character, it's like very tiny details that I think he has to bring to the performance to really make it believable, and it's great.
Exactly, and keep it for a long stretch. You know, that's crazy too.
400 hours?
I think so. We have to. We can double check with him, but I think last time we checked, it was getting to that amount, because you know, this is a very the story is branching.
Yeah.
Just like the life can be branching in our game, and so there are many different variations of how the plotline, the main plotline, but also the alter storylines, how they can go. So for every important moment in the game, there's a decision and the branching and different outcomes. So it really like multiplies the amount of hours spent in the booth.
Yeah, I can imagine.
He's brave. He's doing
Brave, very brave. A lot of water. So visually, though, the Alters is this stark, sort of dark alien world. It's very, I mean, it's not a planet that we have in our solar system. What can you tell us about sort of the art direction and working in the Unreal Engine? I think it's Unreal 5, right?
Yes, it's Unreal 5.
To make it all come together.
We really wanted to create the world that feels desolated, and you feel alienated in it, because we wanted Jan to feel alone. So we were like, yeah, there's no vegetation, and no, you know, creatures, etc. It's really, in that sense, it's very realistic. It's like, you know, barren soil and things like that, and you really feel like there is nowhere to go, and there is no other help than using this tech that allows me to alter myself. And we really wanted to, you know, add some physicality to it. And with each biomes, because you're traveling through separate, bigger locations in the game, each act is another open location you encounter. And we really wanted to find some things, like physical things, like for example, gravitational anomalies. How would it affect the structure of the rocks in this canyon, etc. So that was really nice, because that creates something familiar on one hand, because, you know, there's this rocky landscape, we know it from Earth, but we also know that, you know, the pictures of Mars, etc. But then we had this twist. Okay, what if there was this weird gravitational field? How would it twist the stones and things like that? So yeah, I think there's a lot of surprises encountering next levels for the players. Yeah.
Awesome. Now that brings me to the part where we have to do our shameless plugging.
Yeah.
This, I mean, obviously, Team AMD. So the game obviously uses Unreal 5, and we've got AMD's FSR 3 and 4.
And 4. Yeah.
What was it like working with our engineers to make sure that things were able to work properly and power both across the consoles and the PC?
Yeah, I mean, it was fantastic to have this support, because, you know, we are not a big team, and with having such a big, you know, tech support from AMD allowed us to do things that we probably wouldn't be able without it. And even for an event like this, we also have this tech support, which allows us to do a lot. As you said, we're doing FSR 4 into the game, and it also allows, you know, it allows us to do more, but it also allows players to see more, even on the lower spec machines, which is great, and also helps the high spec machines to make this game, you know, look as best as it can.
I have one more thing then, and this is the no pressure one. This is kind of hard. If you had one thing to tell everybody that's watching in that camera, why they should go play the Alters, or one thing you want them to know before the game launches, or even after the game launches, what would it be?
I mean, this game is a mixture of genres, unlike anything else, I think. So if you're really looking for something original, maybe you're tired of how some games can feel repetitive, one thing we really wanted to achieve here is experience like nothing before. I think this game is unique. It blends different genres, so maybe you love this genre, not that one so much, because, you know, we're mixing survival with heavy narrative, and base building and management game with some action adventure elements. You know, there's a lot going on, but I truly believe it works, and I truly think it's something one of a kind. So if you're looking for something else, something original, please try the altars. I think you won't be disappointed.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.